everybody, and welcome to a brand new Movie Hooker YouTube video. I want to be reviewing The Last of Us today, and I've already done. I was actually just going to do the whole thing in one video, and I'm like, man, it's far too fucking much. No one wants to listen to me for that amount of time. That is just mental. So I says, right, I'm going to break it into episodes, and I've already covered part one and part two. So I want to start off with episode three, which was called A Long, Long Time. And it starred Murray Bartlett as Frank and fucking not Ron Swanson, dear God, Nick Offerman as Bill. And it was an absolutely phenomenal, probably one of the best episodes of television ever written. But I want to get into that. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different. Now, when Bill and Frank sat down at the piano, and you were expecting Bill, or you were expecting Frank to be like the pianist, because he's a lot more, I don't know, he looked like a lot more elegant and snobby than Bill. But it turns out that Bill was the person that was good at playing piano. So they sat down and they played this song, Long, Long Time by Linda Ronstadt. And it has happened to me before, definitely with, I can't put my finger on it right now, with different songs. But this song, as soon as I heard it, it was like someone tattooing that song into the back of my fucking mind. I was obsessed with it. I'm also a little bit disappointed in myself that I didn't know it already, because like the amount of years that I've worked in movie stores, there are also music stores, also games as well, most of the time. So the amount of time I've had Linda Ronstadt in my hand, and I never give her the time of day. Anyway, I'm going to get this over and done with. I don't know how it's going to sound. It's probably going to shit. I've got a mic here set up on the table, and I got a mic here, so it's probably going to be uneven as fuck. But here it is anyway. I went and I learned the song, and I'm just going to play you the same amount of the song that was played in episode 3 when they sat down and played the piano. So here we go. Love will abide, take things in stride. Sounds like good advice, but there's no one at my side, and time washes clean love wounds unseen. That's what someone told me, but I don't know what it means, 'cause I would do the best I can to try and make you mine. And I think I'm gonna love you for a long, long time. So that was Long, Long Time by Linda Ronstadt. I'm going to turn off this mic now, and hopefully we've got more of a balance. So yes, episode 3 was quite the cause, I don't know, separated a lot of opinions. Now I have to say that when it first aired and I was watching it, I was just thinking on one of my bestest friends. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for the text message or the voice message from him. And yeah, true enough, I got one later on in the evening of the day that episode aired. Now, you have to know my friend is far from homophobic, but if you don't know him, you would probably think that he is, but he's not. Trust me. But anyway, I get the inevitable voice message. Dude, what the fucking fuck was that? Brokeback Mountain fucking zombie shit. Fucking, I'm watching a zombie series. There's only 9 episodes in the series. What the fuck was that all about? I've no problem with the gayness and stuff, but so what his argument was, what the fuck were they doing? They just completely, deviated from the story, but they didn't really deviate from the story. This is my whole thing. Like, I can understand what he's saying. In a 9-episode season, there's a lot to come in, and to be honest, I probably would have, if it was me, I was the showrunner, then I'd probably have a 12 episode first season because it did seem a little bit rushed. It was still fucking phenomenal, but it did seem a little bit rushed. So a lot of these storylines were already written, you know, before Mazin got involved with Neil Druckmann to write the series. A lot of these were already written, but because you're so limited when you're making a game, a lot of these didn't make it into the game. But one thing that wasn't written for the game was episode 3. And what Druckmann and Mazin done is that they gave us an episode of hope in a world that is completely fucked and you're not supposed to win. These folks won and they went, like, they lived a good life, fucking didn't hassle anybody, and they went out on their own terms. As tragic and stuff as it was still a really positive episode. Now, if we're talking about the performances here, right, Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett both deserve awards for this, right? I was unaware who Murray Bartlett was. I obviously know who Nick Offerman is, because who doesn't know Ron Swanson, you know? But I was unfamiliar with Murray Bartlett, and I found out he was he starred in The White Lotus, that really popular drama at the minute. So I watched The White Lotus, and I was like, where the fuck's Murray Bartlett? I can't see him anywhere. He can't be that good, that he's hiding from me. And it turns out, whatever fucking streaming platform I was streaming it from, I think it was Now TV, that I pay an astronomical amount of money for. They uploaded season 2 first, and then I was like, I didn't know that I watched season 2 of White Lotus, so I didn't see him. And then all of a sudden, boom, season 1 arrived of White Lotus, and I watched it purely because of Murray Bartlett. And his performance in The White Lotus is completely unlike anything that you see in The Last of Us. And I think that's a credit to him and what a phenomenal actor that he really is. And the same goes for Nick Offerman as well. This was a very serious role for him. Like, for example, the very first words that Nick or Bill says, he says, "Not today, you New Order jackboot fucks." So when Craig Mazin wrote that line, he wrote it in like a little speech bubble. That line wasn't meant to be said in the series, but as they were shooting it, I think Nick Offerman said, he says, "Excuse me, Mr. Mazin," or whatever, you know, he says, "I'm saying this line." He says, "This line has to be said." So I thought that was really, really funny. And yeah, so I don't know where to go, actually, with how good this fucking episode was. People were saying that it didn't push the story forward in any way. It really, really did. It was all about that note at the end. People might go, "Oh, that's a pile of bullshit. You know what I mean? What a cop-off." It's not a cop-off, because the thing about Bill and Frank in the game was the note, was the suicide note. And the fucking suicide note that Frank left Bill in the game was really, really dark, really, really horrible, really, really bitter. So they sort of rewrote these characters and gave these characters more of a background and maybe a look into why, you know, Frank felt the way that he did towards Bill, why there was so much hatred. And we can see that in this episode, that he's not controlling, but you get the impression that Bill hasn't really left his mother's house. You know, I got that from when they opened up the piano still. Frank brought out and he goes, "Oh, this is, I don't know, Mozart or something. This isn't June." And he goes, "Linda Ronstadt, this is you." So I'm like, right, I think this dude has been living with his mother his whole life. I think his mother may have been like controlling. I think he's completely separated from society, you know, and the fact that he spent his whole life alone, and then when the world ended, he actually found something to care for. He didn't still care for himself, but somebody else gave him a reason for living. So that's fucking beautiful, right? I don't care what you say. And the strawberry scene, man, nearly cried at it. It was that fucking, beautiful. So in the game, I think it's Joel and Bill walk into this room, and all of a sudden they see this corpse hanging there. This is the story of Bill and Frank in the game. And this corpse is just lying there, and Bill makes some sort of comment, and Joel says, "Do you know this guy?" And he goes, "Yeah, he was my partner." And he goes over, gets a machete, chops a rope. Frank falls down to the ground, and he goes over, has a look at him and says, "He's been bitten here, he's been bitten here." So he's obviously been bitten and he's infected and he wants to go out on his own terms. So he left Bill a note before he hung himself. And it was a horrible note. It was just like, you're controlling, I fucking can't handle the way that you live. And, it's everything that was elaborated in that episode. And I have no idea how people didn't see that and the genius of it, and even at the end of that episode, like, it just can't, like, how they went about it and how they killed themselves. And then Joel came in, found the note, and then that's the other connection between Bill and Joel. They're both, like, as I say, they're both the same people. And in that moment, when that note's out, when he realizes that he's lost Tess in the note, when he's told to keep her safe, he realizes that his duty now is to protect Ellie, and that is the connection. I just found it. The episode was just I think I've watched it like about 6 times now, that episode, and I'll watch it again. I recently watched it with my little sister, who's 13, I think, and I was sitting by the fireplace, and she was sitting behind me, and oh my god, the tears were just like, she was like beyond crying. And it's just a credit again to the writing of it. It's like, I fucking cried like fucking that episode. And I know a lot of other people that did, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. It was beautiful. And yes, it didn't have all the infected in, and but I'm going to say this throughout these reviews, that it's not The Last of Us is not about infected. The Last of Us is about human connection and love and sacrifice, and there's just infected in the background, and that's the way it is. And with this series, they're able to explore the drama more while still giving us some infected. And I think that the approach that they took was phenomenal, and I think episode 3 was one of the strongest episodes in the whole 9 episodes. So guys, that's episode 3 review. Long time, and it is remarkable. And go listen to that Linda Ronstadt song again, because it'll tattoo in your mind. Guys, thank you very much. That was episode 3, long time. I'll be back with episode